The ultrasound that shook a 50-year marriage. Thomas Hale thought he knew everything about his wife, Margaret. For over 5 decades, they had faced life side by side. Wars, financial collapse, the heartbreak of burying loved ones, and the slow, inevitable march of aging. There were no secrets left between them, or so he believed. But lately, Margaret had changed. She had grown distant, moody, quiet. She hardly touched her meals. Getting up from a chair made her wince. She'd vanish into the bathroom for long stretches and emerge pale, shaky, and tight-lipped. Tea first. Thomas chalked it up to age. But the fear in her eyes, silent and haunting, told him otherwise. Eventually, he convinced her to visit Dr. Ellis's clinic. Now, in the sterile hush of the examination room, Thomas sat tensely beside the exam table. Margaret lay back, her blouse lifted, her aging skin exposed. The room felt cold, too quiet, as Dr. Ellis moved the ultrasound probe gently over her stomach. Tea first. The doctor's face was unreadable. Then his brow furrowed. He adjusted the probe again. His mouth tightened. "What is it?" Thomas asked, already halfway out of his seat. Doctor. Ellis hesitated, then spoke carefully. "There's a fluid-filled sac here. It resembles a gestational sac." Thomas blinked. "Gestational," he echoed, stunned. "You're talking about pregnancy?" Dr. Ellis didn't laugh. He didn't even smile. "It's not a diagnosis yet," the doctor said cautiously. "But the shape and placement, well, it mimics very early pregnancy. We'll need more tests." "Pregnant? At 72? Thomas turned to Margaret, stunned. Her face had drained of all color. Her mouth moved, but no sound came out. "Margaret," his voice cracked. "Is there something you haven't told me?" She opened her lips, but only a soft gasp escaped. A terrible thought struck him, uninvited, cruel. He swallowed hard. "Did you cheat?" Margaret's eyes widened in horror. "No, Tom, never. I swear." "Then how?" His voice rose. "How can this be happening? After all these years?" Margaret reached out to him, but he flinched away. Outside the door, the nurse paused, sensing the raised voices. Doctor Ellis stepped forward, trying to intervene. "Please, Mr. Hale, it could be a mass. Assist. This is highly unusual, but not impossible." But Thomas wasn't listening. His world was unraveling. Everything they had built, their shared history, their quiet love, it all felt suddenly fragile, as if it might break under the weight of this moment. "Our reputation," he said hollowly. "Margaret, do you know what people will say? At our age, what will they think?" Margaret's tears slipped silently down her cheeks. "I would never betray you," she whispered. Thomas turned away, his hands trembling. His heart ached. He didn't know what to believe anymore. For the first time in 50 years, he looked at the woman he loved and saw a stranger. The silence in the room was suffocating. Then something shifted, a memory. Margaret reading by candlelight during a blackout, wrapped in blankets, waiting for him to come home. Another, her sitting beside him after his surgery, holding his hand all night. Her laughter in the garden, her tears when they lost their first child. She had never lied to him, never given him reason to doubt. And yet, in his fear, he walked back to her and took her hand. "I'm sorry," he said hoarsely. "I should have trusted you. I let fear talk louder than love." Margaret looked up at him, eyes full of pain and forgiveness. "I was scared too," she said. Thomas turned to Dr. Ellis. "Run every test you need. Please." We need answers. The doctor nodded. We'll do a full pelvic MRI and blood panels right away. Margaret was wheeled to the imaging wing. Thomas paced the hall, wringing his hands, whispering prayers into the silence. Please don't let it be cancer. Don't take her from me. Time dragged at AT last. Dr. Ellis returned, holding a stack of reports. His face was calm. It's not a pregnancy, he said. It's a large uterine cyst, benign. Fluid-filled. It created a shadow that looked like a gestational sac on the ultrasound. Thomas's knees buckled with relief. A cyst, yes. We'll need to remove it surgically, but it's not cancer, and she's going to be okay. Thomas gripped the doctor's hand tightly. Thank you. Thank you so much. Margaret sat up in bed when he returned, her face pale but hopeful. Good news? She asked. He nodded, eyes bright. The best. You're going to be just fine. Tears welled in both their eyes. But this time, they were tears of relief. Thomas knelt by her bedside and gently took her hand. I'm sorry, he said, his voice raw, for doubting you, for even thinking that. Margaret squeezed his hand. You were scared. I was too. He kissed her knuckles. You're the love of my life, and I'll never forget that again. She smiled. And you mine. The surgery was scheduled for the following week. Margaret, strong as ever, recovered steadily. Thomas never left her side, reading her poetry, telling her old jokes, brushing her hair back gently when she slept. Eventually, they even learned to laugh about it. Their friends joked about the miracle that never was. Margaret teased Thomas about how pale he'd turned in the exam room. But behind those smiles, something had changed. They had been tested, not by betrayal, but by fear, and they had chosen love, because real love isn't about never doubting, it's about what you do after the doubt, that it's about trust, forgiveness, grace. One quiet evening, as the sun set behind the hills, Thomas wheeled Margaret out to the porch so she could feel the evening breeze. He sat beside her and held her hand. You scared me, you know, he said quietly. She chuckled. You scared me too. They watched the sky turn gold and pink, the kind of sunset only people who have loved for a lifetime truly appreciate. And for the first time in a long time, Thomas felt no fear. They had weathered yet another storm. Together, always together.